Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Opinunited podcast.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stop-start games, a lot of end-to-end football, and a lot of drama and unsurprising results.
Yeah.
A lot of transfer rumors, a lot of as the transfer window closes tomorrow, so there'll be a lot of chaos going on in the next 24 hours. But we'll start with the main headlines taking over the newspapers. Manchester City v Arsenal, a rivalry which has now been broken.
Yep, it's been a long time since Arsenal tried to win against Man City. But when they did, massive result for them at the Emirates. And they really reinforced their position in second. They are looking at the main contenders for Liverpool and huge 5-1 victory, and of which was very, very comfortable for them.
As you said, 5-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not many teams can put five past City,
Yeah,
so
it's funny because Man City have now conceded more goals in the Premier League than Man United, which is some record. I think if it was a stronger league season, then Man City would have been way down somewhere in the mid-tables. But fortunately for them, they're still within the competition for the top four places, even with this horrendous result.
Mm. And there's now a lot of pressure on the manager after that dastardly result. And what do you think Pep's going to do about this?
Um, he's he's persisting with some real rubbish decision making, like Mateo Nunes at left, right back, and Bernardo Silva alongside Kovacic as the defensive midfielders. He's got to really change up. He's bought some players that could definitely play a right back. He had Rico Lewis on the bench, who's a right back. It's really weird how he's
And
selected
Mateus
his
Nunes
team.
can also play CDM. So,
Yeah, exactly. And so it's some weird decisions from him that he needs to change, and especially after Haaland said to Arsenal to stay humble last time, it's this time that Man City have been the humbled ones. So yeah, he I imagine he's going to change it up. He's just giving his new signings a bit of time to bed in. What do you think?
mm, I definitely think that he needs to really embed that force again. As you know, City won the Premier League four times in a row now. And so that expectations of them are really high. And Mamouche and the attacking three he went with to start with was all messed up. Like they were playing Savinho with Vardiol, which was wrong because they both like to stay quite wide and broad. And they were playing Foden in the attacking midfielder spot when I think Mamouche dropped into there in the game, and so it was all a bit messed up from Pep this game. But Pep has won many things with Barcelona and City, and I think he'll dig down deep and make something special happen.
It's the first time he's had to refresh a team, and he's really struggling with it. They spent a lot of money, so maybe they can start to see the changes, but I don't think that they'll really feel it until next season. But they need to embed these new signings. I think Slovenia's been okay. There's players that are getting away with really terrible times at the club. Like Grealish is basically offering nothing of value to Man City at the moment. And yeah, I think Marmoush will play a big role. I think they need to figure out how they replace Kevin De Bruyne because obviously he doesn't have the fitness for it as much as anymore. And if they want to push on in the Champions League, they're going to need that. So key couple of weeks coming up for them, really.
Mm. And the midfielder used to be controlled by Kevin De Bruyne, and I think he should be really starting as they look quite weak without him.
Yeah,
But then when he came on, they also had a big loss of
yeah. I
putting
think
out
yeah,
Foden, which
yeah,
his goal running streak, as you know, has been fabulous, and taking him off is a big sacrifice. So
yeah,
Pep has to find a way to play the dream combo really of De Bruyne, Foden, and Haaland. And
yes.
I think I don't know what he's gonna do with it.
No. And he's got a day now to go to the market and see what he can get because he will want to at least push on in the Champions League and try and compete for that. Because realistically, the Premier League's done and gone. Obviously, they'll want to seal their top four places. But apart from that, they're going to really want to have a challenge for that Champions League to make the season at least somewhat worthwhile.
Yeah,
But they have a tough tie. If you saw the Champions League, they play Real Madrid in the next round, so
yeah.
in the playoff places, which is massive, massive. And actually, it's two teams that have not really found their feet this year. So it's going to be a good game, a really interesting one.
Wait, is it if you lose route?
If you lose, you're up.
So like,
So one massive team will go. That's it's definitely the time of the round.
but all the good teams are left safe and sound for the round of eight. I think Liverpool are in
Yeah,
there.
they're in the round of
Aston
six.
Villa snuck their
Yeah, the
way.
top eight go through automatically.
Yeah,
They
so
play in the round of 16 against the winners of the playoffs.
I really don't want Liverpool to win because if they win the Premier League, then they have good fortune for the Champions League,
Yeah.
and they also have chances of winning the FA Cup, and then they'll win the treble.
They're probably one of the most consistent teams. And speaking of Liverpool, showed that consistency this weekend, getting a very, very good result against a Bournemouth team that was absolutely on fire.
And we'll go to get that game now, and it was quite a strange one because Bournemouth had very good chances. I saw Antoine Semenyo hit the woodwork.
Yeah.
He always brings some magic to this team
Yeah.
when the ball's at his feet.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth will feel a bit unlucky. They had a disallowed goal as well.
Mm,
And it was quite a soft penalty. I mean, some would argue it's a definite penalty, but it looked very, very soft.
mm.
But that's how it goes. They got a result against a Bournemouth team that had been getting massive results against all of Liverpool's title rivals. So it's a big one for them, and it just reaffirms their credentials
Mm,
with two more goals for Mo Salah as well.
yeah. The way he puts that ball into the top corner is just extraordinary. I really wonder where he's gonna go now because he's got a hard decision to make. Is it for the fans or is it for himself? That's what he has to say.
Yeah.
Because the Liverpool won't be the same without Mo Salah, and
No.
so it'll be a hard one to see next season. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think Liverpool were sitting tight. They're not going to make any big moves in January
Yeah, I think they've
because
got a pretty good
they're
squad.
going to assess and save that money to spend in the summer when it's a bit more better value and they know what they need to get.
Yeah. On the other hand, for Bournemouth, the midfield was perfect. I think they gave Liverpool a really good game.
Yeah.
Scoreline doesn't tell you much, but it was a lot better than it actually says on paper.
Yeah.
And Bournemouth really stretched Liverpool, opened up some gaps, and I think Bournemouth will be good contenders for European places.
Yeah, they've been
I
they've,
really want them to get to that.
they've been one of the best sides in the league this year, I think.
I think right now they probably pose the most threat alongside with Newcastle because them two are going to be a hard team to beat.
Yeah.
And we all know Liverpool's going to do really well, but them two, I think they're going to succeed as well.
I agree.
Right. We'll move on to another game which had your head shaking. Wow, Everton 4, Leicester 0.
Yeah.
Completely opposite to the Sean Dyche results.
Yeah.
David Moyes just sent a team full attacking, and he has not put the brakes on.
It's 3 wins in a row now, I think, for them. So they're almost catching up to like Tottenham and Manchester United. He's got them now safely away from the relegation zone. And Everton are just scoring goals. I think it was really bad from Leicester, to be honest. Some of the defending was a disaster.
There was about, I think, one shot on target, which is abysmal from Leicester.
I think Ruud van Nistelrooy was rumored to be wanting to maybe quit because he was promised signings and they've not really had any. And but the general play is really, really bad. To say almost amateurish the way they conceded goals against Everton. Just long balls, even just got over the top, just slicing them apart, and the defensive runs were lacking effort. It was a dire display, and they got rightly destroyed by Everton. An
Mm.
Everton team that are much more playing with more vibrancy under Moyes, even though they were lacking a striker now that Calvert-Lewin's injured. But better stepped up and they got a good result.
Yeah.
They'll be a bit more comfortable about another year in the Premier League and especially playing in their new stadium.
Mm. Sad result for Leicester, although Van Nistelrooy is said to leave and Leicester needs some gas if they want to keep up. There was once a Leicester team, like I think 2 seasons ago, who were soaring, and then Everton was the one who knocked them down to be relegated. And so they will be fighting to stay up, but they really don't have the
No.
players to do that. We'll see what happens with Leicester. And we'll also go to two other teams who were also trying to stay up and a crucial win for Southampton over Ipswich. That
So,
was 2-1.
yeah, so much needed points. I think that might be their second win of the season.
Yes.
Ipswich will be devastated about that result. It's one that they really needed to win and get the 3 points from if they had any hope of surviving. And yeah, those drop points almost certainly seal both of their fates because you would imagine that both would probably go down now. Um, there's a bit of, I mean, both have played well this season for large parts of it. It's just finding that result, and it's this time it was Southampton that get it.
Mm. Uh, Kieran McKenna's side really needed that quality and lacked it in front of
Yeah,
goal. And they have a lot of strength and capability in the midfield, but the players and the money in both teams isn't there. And
yeah,
they're probably championship teams, but they have been playing quality football in the Premier League. I think Southampton have got some good results against big clubs. Ipswich have beaten Tottenham. They've drawn with Chelsea. They've beaten Chelsea. And so Ipswich, the result just wasn't there for them. What do you think?
yeah. I agree. I agree totally.
Mm. Right, we'll move to another must needed result. And Postecoglou delighted with this. Brentford nil, Tottenham 2.
Yeah, huge result for Spurs, ending their awful run of games where they're just losing after losing after losing after losing. Actually, that was probably beaten. That was probably ended in the Europa League where they got a crucial win as well. But another goal directly for a corner for Son, the second of the season. I'm not really sure what's going in the Premier League. Defending set pieces has seemed to be an art that's completely been forgotten. Um, but yeah, massive result, massive 3 points for Ange. And they're now looking in the market to get some centre backs. I think Kevin Dante has been
And
almost certain,
Axel Disasi
and they're
as well.
going for Axel Disasi as well. So that's two big centre backs
And
that
they've
will
got Davies back as
was
well.
Ben Davies, and they'll start to get a lot more players back. And as they get that squad back, you'd assume that they'll start getting results and putting wins back together.
Yeah. I think the defense from Spurs was outstanding. It was exquisite. The way they handled Brentford, which have been a
Yeah, a team on
amazing
fire.
team at
Yeah,
home as well,
yeah.
is the only team to win nearly every game at home. And so beating them by 2 goals is quite the result.
Yeah, I mean totally. And
What do you think Brentford are like?
Brentford will be disappointed. They didn't really give Spurs' defense as much trouble as many would have expected. And it's what should probably feel like 3 points drop because with the injuries and the absences that Spurs have, most of the teams have been able to really ruffle their feathers. But Brentford have missed out on the opportunity and they dropped 3 crucial points. And Spurs, on the other hand, will look to take and build momentum from that result.
Yeah, hopefully Spurs can keep this one up and hopefully they can keep succeeding. Now another team fighting to stay up, filled with misery. Crystal Palace versus Manchester United.
Two teams around Spurs, and not a massive surprise that Man United struggled. They've really done poorly at home this year, it seems, especially in the league. And Crystal Palace punished. I mean, they could have done so earlier in the game, but they got the goal eventually through Mateta and never really looked back. Man United look like they have a lack of attacking and goal scoring options, which is something that they'd hope to address. They're getting rid of Rashford, it seems, to Aston Villa, who's their second top scorer under Amarim, which is a problem because you do hope there'd be more goals because Rashford hasn't played since December. But there you go. That's the general issue at the moment. I think obviously they signed Dorgu, they signed Heaven, which is two defensive options. I think Dorgu goes straight in at left back. There's no doubt about it. Dallow's not really done well there, but it's the cutting edge and putting the ball in the goal that is something that Man United massively, massively need to improve on.
Yeah, they're in desperate need for um quality in
Yeah,
the striking
yeah.
centre forward position because right now Hoyland's not just being fed by the wingers and they're they're playing this formation where they can have a 3-4-2-1 and so those that two is really have to be quality and playing Bruno Fernandes there who's really a chosen midfielder is and fighting with like Garnacho and Ahmed both on the bench. It's not,
On both sides today,
but
they tried to play Maino up front, which was not the right decision, I don't think. He was doing well as number 10. So
yeah,
it's a formula you're trying to figure out. I think there's going to be more painful results for Man United this year, but they're going to trust in Amarim to figure out what's the best formula for it, the formation he wants to play, and they will build the squad based on that.
I really think they need to like find some quality in the midfield and they need to shake up their formation and maybe change it to like a 3-2-4-1 so they can have the wingers back and then they can really exploit Garnacho's true stability and Ahmad both playing on either wings.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We'll see how they progress, but I imagine it's going to be a slow one. It's accepted pain because it's a big shift from what Man United have traditionally played as. So we'll see how they do in the summer and onwards. But it looks like now that the Europa League is what they should put all their efforts into because that's their best way to the Champions League.
Yes. Right. We'll go into the next game. Late drama at Newcastle v Fulham.
Yeah. Well, I think Newcastle got the early goal, right?
Yeah, they scored fast.
But Fulham this season have been a relentless force, and they really got themselves back into the game.
And Rodrigo Muniz on the score sheet again late on. And I just think he's an exceptional striker in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And although he's second choice to Raul Jimenez,
Who
as,
also scored, I believe, right?
yeah, he is just the rocket power that Fulham have needed. And though he's tried to go on sale to many different clubs, Fulham are keeping him,
Yeah.
and for reasons. Disappointment for Newcastle, though, they just couldn't hang on.
Yeah, and they're in a bit of a bad run of form, but some promise there, and they'll look to sort of get back in a positive run of games now.
They're
But
playing Arsenal on the
they
5th,
yeah,
so
yeah, in the second leg of the
Carabao
Carabao, yeah.
Cup.
So they'll want to use that positivity and try and get to the next round
Yeah.
and go on from there.
Mm.
The next one being the final, of course. Yeah.
I really think if they can win this and Tottenham can win, they have a good chance of the Carabao Cup because with their form, their team properly shaken out now. Um, the coach has really found the way for this Newcastle side, and I think they can do good things. Right, we'll move on to the real shocking one that happens. It's going to be quite a surprise to you guys who haven't watched the game. Wolves beat Aston Villa
Yeah.
2-0.
Huge result for Wolves who get some space over the relegation zone now.
And
They
quite deserved
yeah,
as well, I would
yeah.
say.
It's a local derby. against Aston Villa, and they got the massive, massive result with a 2-0 win. And it's a reflection of why, sorry, Aston Villa are really investing in deepening their squad.
Mm. I think Aston Villa just really need to fix it out because
Yeah,
they're buying Donya Marlon and he's
yeah.
been quite an influential start. John Duran and Watkins, they've got their
John
strikers.
Duran's gone now. He's gone to Al Nassr.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's gone 71. So they're replacing him with Rashford on loan and Asensio on loan, which is
Yeah, Sensio, yeah, I saw that
yeah,
from PSG,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's two good, really like quality players that they're adding. So they'll be looking to maybe not, maybe they expect top four. They look for a top six place, and
Yeah,
then
it's for Europa League and then they can push for the
they'll be
Champions League.
really, yeah, exactly.
And I think that they have the money to sign players and they've bought some good things, but I really just think they need to sort out the centre back positions.
Yeah, I think they were trying for Disassi, but they couldn't get an agreement.
Mm.
It's probably one that they'll try and address before the window closes tomorrow.
And because Wolves can easily just play a through ball, and that's what exactly they did for both goals, I believe.
Yeah,
With Bellegarde scoring the first and Cunha on fire scoring the second.
yeah, massive. And he's set to agree a new 4.5 year deal, which is a great boost for Wolves as well.
Yeah.
So we've got one more day in the window. It's going to be an interesting one.
We'll see what
I
happens.
imagine there's going to be a lot of deals done tomorrow because, especially because Man United are letting Rashford go, they'll look to replace him in some way or form.
Hopefully, like someone like Gyökeres can come in.
I don't think it's going to come in January. I think it's unlikely. They were looking at Matis Tel from Bayern, but I think,
Tell ya.
but then I'm not sure if that deal's going to go through.
Hopefully, they
So
can find a good striker to play there.
yeah, I think Arsenal will be looking at a striker.
They
Um,
were looking at Watkins, but now that Aston Villa don't have a striker, they're not going to let him
yeah,
go.
I think it's unlikely with one day to go. But yeah, lots of we'll probably do another episode covering
The transfer window.
the yeah the hustle and bustle of the transfer window because it's going to have a lot of talking points.
Mm.
Yeah.
And we'll see you until that video
Yeah.
then.
All right.
Some hectic games that we have just
Yeah.
recovered.
And then the Carabao Cup
Mm.
semi-final to
And,
come.
and we'll cover both of those games in the next episodes.
Yeah.
We'll see you until then.
Okay. See
See ya.
ya.
Bye.